In this video, we're going to see how to customize where Find and Run Robot searches for files. Let's hit the break key to bring up the FARR window, and then click this button on the far right to bring up the options dialog. Now, we're going to go through all of these options tabs eventually in this screencast series, and FARR comes pre-configured with a good set of default settings that should let you search and find all your common files. But let's go to the Search Folders tab here, and what you see here is a set of, these are the default folders that FARR will search for normally. Now you can check and uncheck them if you don't want to search in certain directories, and they're listed in order of search. So FARR will search first the directories at the top and then go down. So you want to put your the directories that you're most likely to be searching at the top. The first folder here is a set of built-in shortcuts and scripts that FARR searches, and I'll show you an example of that. The second one is one I've added. Actually, these two are ones I've added, and if you uncheck, it won't search there. So now let's just take a quick look at this music directory that I've added, and I'll show you something special about modifier keywords. If we double click on the item, it will bring up the search directory dialog where we can configure the directory path. We can configure it to only search in the root level of that path, or this -1 value says to search in all children directories. We can give it a certain bias score. The higher that is, the more results from this directory will bubble up to the top and beat out other results. We can exclude certain subfolders if we had a backup folder. And if we only wanted to find certain files, like if we only wanted to find MP3 files, we could type MP3 here and separate multiple extensions with semicolon. And we can also specify an optional modifier keyword. When we specify a modifier keyword, FARR will only search inside this directory when we specify explicitly this keyword. So I showed you this in the overview screencast, but let's just click OK and try this. If I type frost plus music, it's the plus music which tells FARR to search in my music directory and find these files here. Let's delete and go back to the options, and let's add a new folder here. So I'm going to right click in this panel, and this is many of the list configurations in FARR work in the same way. You can select an item and right click to delete it or edit it, or you can right click anywhere and say add new entry, which is what we're going to do. I'm going to browse for a path here on the computer. I'm going to add this langs directory where I have some programming language folders that I sometimes want to search. I could just leave the score 0, but I'll give it an extra bump of 200. And I'll leave these, well, let's put a modifier of lang here. Okay, so if you don't put a modifier, it will search it every time. You can see it's added up to the top and shown it. So now let's click OK, and now I'm going to type plus lang, and you can see now it's started to list the results of that folder. And let's type PHP, and you can see it's found some PHP results. I can type GCC, which will find some results in the, if we select an item, we can see down at the bottom here the exact path of the file it's found. And let's hit escape to select and backspace to delete it. If we go back in the options and double click the languages and delete the modifier and click OK, you can see now I can start typing GCC, and it's going to find GCC because it's always now searching this langs directory. And I could go and disable that if I didn't want to do it anymore. Now normally it's the start menu that you want to search, and so you'd have these checked. and let me show you what's in the scripts directory. The scripts directory has some control panel stuff built in. So if I do cpanel and then do audio, I get my audio control panel, or cpanel mouse, or add remove programs. Let's see what else is worth mentioning. I guess the one important thing that's worth knowing about the way FARR works, which is different from some other similar programs, is that Find and Run Robot does not index your hard drive, and a lot of similar programs do. There are pros and cons to indexing. Indexing does take up a lot of memory and causes quite a bit of disk use, but it allows you to find any file anywhere on your computer quite quickly. FARR actually searches directories using the operating system as you type. That means that you don't normally want it to be searching your entire hard disk. You normally have it configured to search specific areas like the start menu where all of your program shortcuts are. Now there are add-ons for FARR that will let it search using an index. And the other thing that makes using the non-indexed approach quite sufficient is that FARR caches recently launched programs and uses the operating system directory cache. So actually, as you're relaunching programs over and over, they're found almost instantly. And so that's it for this screencast, and I'll see you next time.